Nolan, very good to see you. This video is for anyone who wants to retire in 2025. We have 5 money moves that you need to make first. Retirement planning usually takes place over decades. Checking in with yourself throughout the planning process can keep you on track. But of course, you need to give your finances a cold, hard look before you tell the boss goodbye. So our first money move is decide when to claim Social Security.
Thanks, Erin. And deciding when to claim Social Security is probably the most important thing that a retiree can do. It's, for most people, the majority of their income stream over their retirement years. And depending on when you claim it, you can get your full benefit at age 67 or maybe 66 in a few months or something, or as soon as age 62. You can see here in this chart how that amount is decreased if you claim early based on a full retirement age of 67, and how it increases for each year that you wait. So deciding when to claim Social Security, how it factors into your other savings, and then how those savings fill the gap, that's probably step number one.
Right. Now you led me right into step number 2. You need to determine if you have adequate savings, but this seems overwhelming. So where do you start?
I would say don't listen to those commercials or whatever that say that you need $2 million to retire. First off, I think that like a lot of people have some number in their head, and
Right.
it's not always a number.
Yeah.
What you're looking for with your savings is, can it generate enough interest? Can it generate enough dividends? Can I peel off enough of my portfolio over a 30-year period to supplement my income to what I need each month? That's what you need. Now, the portfolio size will depend on how much risk you're willing to take over time. If you're not willing to risk very much, you usually need a little bit larger of a pot of money. And if you are willing to risk a little bit more, then you need a little bit less because you'll earn more over time typically. So yeah, adequate savings, it's not necessarily a dollar amount. It's more of how much can supplement Social Security and other guaranteed income to get you to your total income need.
Mhm. It's so nice to think that there's a magic number that if you hit it, you're like, whew, I'm set. But of
I know,
course,
and for some people there is, but for a lot of people it's just more about the income.
yeah,
Yeah.
that makes more sense.
Yeah.
All right. Tip number 3 here is decide on a withdrawal strategy. Of course, I think most of us have heard of the 4% rule, but I've also heard that you should tap your tax buckets in a certain order: taxable, tax deferred, then tax free. What do we need to keep in mind?
Well, I think we most importantly need to keep in mind that everybody's situation is different,
Mm,
So the 4% rule, or withdrawing 4% of your total portfolio each year, works for some people and it doesn't for other, depending on your risk tolerance. And the same with this traditional withdrawal strategy: taxable, tax deferred, or Roth. This may change based on how much you have in each bucket. We mention it a lot when we talk that we're in pretty low tax brackets right now. So if you have a lot of money in pre-tax accounts, you may want to consider tapping that a little bit sooner than your taxable accounts, for example. So the withdrawal strategy, I think it changes more based on time, based on economic conditions, and then based on, most importantly, your portfolio and your income needs.
mhm. Next, schedule check-ins. Review your finances before and throughout your retirement, especially in those first few years. But how often do you think retirees are doing this? And how often do you think they're surprised by what they're spending?
I think a lot fewer retirees do this than they want to. I mean, I think everybody's intent is to look at your budget a little bit more frequently than we do.
Mm,
But I notice sometimes that with retirees, just being on a more fixed income, it catches up with you a little bit if you don't
yeah.
monitor your budget very frequently. So we do recommend every 6 to 12 months that you at least grab a bank statement, grab your cash in versus cash out if you have some app or something that can monitor that. But look at your budget and make sure that you're still in line with what you need. Now, our groceries go up and gas goes up and everything goes up a lot each year, and Social Security may not always be enough to cover those things. So if your portfolio needs to make up the difference, or if you need to decrease spending in certain areas, it's important to keep a finger on that pulse.
Hmm. And last and perhaps most important, consult an advisor.
And what our role is kind of to coordinate all of this stuff for you.
Yeah.
As advisors, as fiduciaries, when we're charging a fee for the advice that we're giving for people, we're giving that advice in the best interest of those clients. It's disclosed that way. And so we're not incentivized to tell you one thing over another. We're really trying to help you come up with the most objectively optimistic scenario for your retirement. We run you through analyses and say, well, here's what happens if you claim Social Security early versus at age 70, and what your portfolio has to do in the meantime to make up for that. So
Mhm.
an advisor kind of helps coordinate it. We'll take you from start to finish, and it's all part of our income planning process.
Right. And you also know all those risks and how to avoid those landmines, which is very helpful. So, Nolan, if somebody would like to see if they are on track for retirement for this year or for tomorrow, what's the best way to reach you?
So by phone, 616-301-2581 is typically the best way to reach us. And then if you want, you can go to cornerstone-rp.com and fill out the contact us box at the bottom of the homepage.
Great. Nolan, thank you.
Thanks, Erin.